In the podcasting life, they must fight to survive, shackled by the chains of the past. They're the biggest of geeks, cause they watch every week. Subscribe to see if they can last. Go, go, Ranger Danger, we can't ever stop. Go, go, Ranger Danger, podcast till we drop, probably forever. Dino Charge, yeah, whatever. Ranger Danger, Ranger Danger, Ranger Danger, Ranger Danger, Ranger Danger, Dino Charge.
Welcome to Ranger Danger Dino Charge. This is the podcast where it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you look. There's a tree in the Grand Hotel. There's one in the park as well. The sturdy kind that doesn't mind the snow.
All right, Matt. There's no snow here in Christmas. It doesn't snow in Christmas in Australia, where we're from.
In the place where we live, yes.
In the place where we live, down under.
Yes, Dave.
It doesn't snow there. Here, it doesn't snow here.
And yet, Dave, that is the way that the song goes. My name is Matt.
I'm Dave. I'm Dave.
How are you, Dave?
Not bad, man.
Today we are watching the Christmas Spectacular, Race to Rescue Christmas. This is the 22nd episode of Power Rangers Dino Charge. It is written by Judd Lynn and Mark Litton, originally aired on December 5th, 2015. Dave, how are you looking forward to this one?
With hope in my heart. I have a Christmas spirit. It lives and thrives. And I think it's only going to be done good by watching this special.
Well, it has done me good, Dave, and I think in the future it will do me good. What have you been up to before we get into this?
Okay, so just real quick, first of all, I did not plan to set you up for that, but that was a fucking excellent catch on your part.
Thank you. I pride myself on weird, deep-cut Christmas Carol quotes.
That's a real specific thing to be psyched about. I can't imagine that comes up a whole lot, but
more often than you'd think.
I haven't been up to much, man. Things are cool, I guess. I just saw the preview for the new XXX movie.
Oh, you're talking about the return of Xander Cage?
Oh my gosh, Vin Diesel.
Dave, could we not watch this episode of Power Rangers Dino Charge and instead do an entire episode where we just talk about the trailer for XXX, the return of Xander Cage?
Dude, I don't know how long I could do on just the trailer, but...
Dave, all movies that are not the trailer to the return of Xander Cage are now dead to me.
Can suck it! Oh my god. Dude, okay. You know how a spirit animal is like, it's not necessarily you, but it's like representative of your best, like most aspirational self?
Sure.
Vin Diesel is in that way my spirit animal. Like, he's a million times cooler than me, but my best, like most aspirational version of me is a lot like Vin Diesel. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense, yes.
And so just watching that beautiful bastard ski down a mountain in the Amazon.
Yeah, by the way, no snow on this mountain that he's skiing down.
Yeah, it's in the Amazon. I don't know if it's in the Amazon. It's in a fucking jungle. But just watching him, oh my god, it's a thing of beauty.
You know, Dave, that was pretty good. You know what I liked more than that is when he rode a dirt bike on top of water like he was Extreme Sports Jesus.
Oh my god. Dude. I don't even know what to say about it. I just watch it. Just watch the trailer. If you haven't, just do that. Do that thing. Do yourself that fat favor.
So, obviously, this is a podcast where we're watching Power Rangers. But we have a website.
Sure do.
It's rangerdangerpodcast.com. We also have an email, Dave. It is rangerdangerpodcast@gmail.com. Now, if you are at all interested in sending us a Twitter tweet, we are at RangerDcast on Twitter. We're on Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Google+. Plus, we do have a shop.
Shit, yeah, we do.
Hell yeah, it is at rangerdangerpodcast.com/shop. Go on there. by, the stuff that we sell. I know what it all is, but I'm not going to bother telling you.
I could give you a exhaustive list of all of that stuff.
List, but you've got to go to the website and check it out yourself. I suspect there's a t-shirt.
Been involved in its creation, I would assume.
Yeah, probably a mug, too. But just, you're going to need to find that out for yourself. But we, right now, are going to stop doing this. We are going to go watch episode 22 of season 22, lines up, of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, sort of overall as a franchise.
Yeah, and it's on Netflix.
Yes. Oh, yeah. If you want to follow along, this is on Netflix. There are probably DVDs available, I suspect.
Dude, what unimaginable luxury to watch this shit on Netflix.
You mean to not have to, dig it up on a weird site and try to stream it and hope that the service doesn't get shut down before you finish the season?
Yeah. That's exactly what I mean.
Man, I wonder what that would be like. That would be awful.
That would fucking suck. Thankfully, we don't have to deal with that because all our shit's on Netflix.
Absolutely. So, we will be right back.
Ranger, danger, ranger, danger.
Okay, welcome back. So, we know that you've watched this show a bunch of times, but just in case, I don't know, man, you found this episode because you were looking for podcasts about Christmas and you thought, what the hell, I'll give it a listen. Let's just run through what you're about to see here. What you're about to hear. So the premise of this show...
Yes.
In case you don't know, because I fucking know, but in case you don't know.
Of course you know. But, in case you want to listen to this with your mom or something, and she doesn't know.
So the premise of this show is that there are 6 or more Energon cubes, Energems.
Yes. Energy double D batteries.
Yeah.
Double A, sorry. That's my mistake.
That a dude named Sledge was looking for back in prehistoric times.
Yeah, back in Dino days.
Yeah. But then this fucking Muppet named Keeper, I don't know where he comes in.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, but not in an existential way.
Yeah, this guy, he looks like what if E.T. was worse?
What if E.T. fucked Yoda? That's what this dude looks like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and then they had a weird... Anyways, so he somehow gets the gems... And he decides to give them to dinosaurs.
Listen, if you can't trust dinosaurs, Dave, who can you trust?
Which I guess then turn into Zords. And then somehow people get them.
Later.
A bunch later. So there's 6 Rangers. There's a red guy who's the leader, right? And then there's the pink ranger, her name is Shelby. And then there's the blue ranger, who's an actual, honest-to-God fucking caveman.
Yeah, did y'all know there was a caveman in this show? A straight-up Encino man?
Who speaks English.
Sort of.
And then there's a green preppy kid he's not a green kid. His name is Riley, and he's the Green Ranger. The Black Ranger, his name is Chase, and he's from New Zealand. And I imagine that we hate him.
Do we hate Chase?
I feel like we must, being from Australia, not in a personal way, just in a Highlander there can be only one sort of way.
Yes, that is a thing that is probably true about these two great nations.
That's gotta be true. That there's a secret anyways. And then the Gold Ranger is a knight.
Yes, his name is Sir Ivan of Xandar.
Okay, I assume that Xandar is from not Earth because this dude doesn't dress like an Earth person. He dresses like a steampunk cowboy is how he dresses, and Xandar isn't a place on Earth.
Well, it's not anymore, but maybe in medieval times it was.
Nope, it sure wasn't.
Listen, Dave, maybe not in our medieval times, but in the medieval times of a world where a robot fought a weird Muppet from dinosaur times, And that I feel like that might have changed the history of the planet a little bit. There could have been at some point a Sandar.
All right. That's actually a real good point. And then there's this chick Kendall, and she's the president of dinosaurs, I think. And then that Muppet is still around, and he's kind of like Zordon, but awful.
Yeah, if Zordon was physically repulsive.
Yeah, and then there's some bad guys. There's Poisandra, and so the bad guys are Poisandra and Curio and Wrench. And what you need to know about them is that they look like monsters from Final Fantasy.
They look exactly like monsters from Final Fantasy.
Yeah, like one of the more recent ones. Like once they got past like the real blocky graphics, that's what they're Final Fantasy monsters. So
and they are led by a dude named Sledge, who basically does not appear in this episode.
Yeah. So this episode, what we're about to talk about, is a clip episode,
which is great.
Which I hate.
No, it's great because obviously we've already seen all these episodes.
We've seen all this shit,
but it's great to get reminded, of all the good times that we've had that we've already watched and completely understand.
Okay, here's my only. It's lazy, Matt. It's lazy. It's lazy television. It wasn't okay when Seinfeld did it, and it's not okay when Dino Charge does it.
Dave, when has this show ever tried to convince you that it is not lazy? When in the 800 episodes of Power Rangers has it ever tried to tell you anything otherwise?
Okay.
Listen, Dave, it's standing in its truth right now, and it's giving you its best. And you just need to accept that, because that's what this show is about. Is about watching the Power Rangers every week, which we do.
I guess there is some truth to watching a show that literally only films half of an episode every episode and just uses somebody else's hard work and footage that they've already just bought. Okay, that's a really good point. Okay, so here's the deal with this episode. It's Christmas time, but it's in California, so it's just like, it's fucking nice out. And there's a line of kids, and they're there to see Santa, and it's a really short line, which is amazing
because this is literal Santa Claus.
This is real Santa.
This is not Santa's little helper. This is not Mike the Miz Mizzanen, star of the WWE Films movie Santa's Little Helper. This is actual Santa Claus. This is
real for fucking real Santa Claus, which we are about to find out. Okay, so there's a line of kids to see this Santa Claus, and Poisandra, who is a walking Valentine's Day card, and a Final Fantasy wizard,
evil.
Which we find... What?
I mean, an evil fantasy...
Valentine's Day card. Valentine's Day card. So Poisandra and Curio, who just straight up is a Final Fantasy black wizard, they cut in line, and they run up, and they're like, Santa, Poisandra does, she's like, here's my list of presents that I want in alphabetical order, and obviously it's like this giant list.
It's a scroll.
Yeah, and Santa just says, well, gotta check the naughty and nice computer.
Because, of course, Santa... Okay, let me tell you something about Santa that you might know. Not know, rather. You know how in all the songs and stories and movies that you've seen, Santa knows if you're naughty or nice?
Yeah.
And you might have always assumed that, hey, Santa he's got a good eye for this thing. He sees you, He knows. He's got, he's a magic dude, obviously.
Right. He's got a list. He checks it twice. He knows if you're naughty or nice.
But do you know how he checks it twice?
Turns out...
He's got a computer. A giant computer with like a candy cane lever. And he throws he types your name in, and he throws the lever, and it shows you a series of videos.
And then it just tabulates. Like he's just got a macro or like an algorithm or something, and it checks the video and it just tells Santa. And anyway, okay, just a minute. So they pull the lever on Poisandra, and it's like it shows us doing that she does bad stuff. And it's like, oh, she's naughty. And Santa's like, well, sorry, bitch. You're naughty. You're not. No presents. Can't do it. But like, what's amazing is that he seems genuinely apologetic. He's really sorry.
Well,
Santa's
he's like, a nice guy. He doesn't want to disappoint people on Christmas.
Right. He's like, you're naughty. There's nothing I can do about it. You're naughty. You don't get presents. That's how it works. So Santa shuts her down, and then Wrench, who it looks like a knight, shows up, and then their dudes they're bad guys. They're like minion bad guys. are wearing like white zenny suits with like writing on them, and then they've got face masks and like green dreads is what it looks like.
Yeah, not like real dreads, like the sort of dreads that are in like Finn Balor's like NXT TakeOver Demon headdress.
Yes, yeah, very much like that. So they show up and they steal the naughty or nice computer,
which, by the way, does not seem to be plugged into anything. It's just a box with a lever.
Listen, I think we have to assume that this thing has an internal power source. So they steal it, and as they're running away with it, Santa says, "No, don't! You can't steal it. I can't do my job without it. Like, I can't. I need the computer to know who's naughty and nice." What the shit did Santa do before the computer age?
I was going to say, is Santa just really terrible at his job? Did he just used to guess?
Okay, I think we have to assume one of two things. Either A, Santa... Oh, there's three things. A, Santa is just shitty at his job, and he just used to guess, which, sure, man. B, Santa used to be able to do this, but like the rest of the world has become so dependent on technology, he's literally helpless without it. Or C... Santa has always had this computer, and all human computational technology is actually based on the naughty or nice computer.
Well, I guess that makes sense, because naughty and nice is sort of it's a binary thing. So really,
right.
You just extrapolate that out, and that's how you program computers.
Yeah, fun fact, binary is not actually programmed in zeros and ones. Everything is based on naughty or nice. So it's just a string of presents or no presents. Really, when it's saying yes or no, it's saying yes presents or no presents.
It's candy canes and pieces of coal. That's what the 1 and the 0. You think that's what it is, but it's a representation of those two items.
Yeah, Y2K, big fucking hoax. Those double zeros did not matter at all. So okay, so then we get the theme song. It's a fucking kick-ass theme song,
dude. This
by
thing
the way.
is a jam.
It is. Yeah, it's just real fucking cool. So, okay, so there's the kick-ass theme song, and then we go see the Dino Museum, which is where they all live. Which I knew.
Is that also where people come to see them?
It sure is.
Are they really a scream? The Power Rangers Dino Charge?
Museum? Yeah. So...
This is a great Addams Family joke that I feel like people aren't getting.
I snapped. Did you? Anyways, okay. So this is where we find out, if we didn't know before, which we do, that the blue dude is a caveman, because everybody is there except Kiwi, Chase, except Chase. He's not there yet, but they're all having Christmas dinner at the Dinosaur Museum, because none of them have homes, I guess.
Well, except for Chase, but we will find that out in a minute.
Right. So apparently their secret base is just like built into the Dinosaur Museum, but I think the base is old, and so maybe they built the museum around the base, because there's just a dinosaur head that literally anybody can climb up into, and there's a tooth that you twist, and that's what gets you down into the base. And so that's how there's a flashback. That's how they found the base.
Right. Literally, they became Power Rangers by complete accident.
Yeah, by accident.
Sometimes. Okay, do you remember playing old Nintendo games? And you'd be playing with your friend, and they would say, like, hey, listen, if you jump down that pit, I know it looks like you're going to die, but actually you'll get, like, a bonus life. That's actually what happened to them. It's like, oh, if you just jump down that hole, you'll accidentally become a Power Ranger.
Yeah, so they become the Power Rangers, and it seems like they haven't updated that security at all. They're just really hoping that literally no other human being on the planet wants to get a picture in the T-Rex's mouth and accidentally twists that tooth and finds their secret base. So
Chase is running late, and they're all wondering what could be keeping him, when all of a sudden he skateboards inside like a responsible person.
And we find out that Chase is going to go home for Christmas. Like, that's the plan. And what they're saying is, they're like, dude, he's got to hurry if he's going to get here, because he's got to make this plane.
Okay, not only is this his plan, this is like the high-stakes thing of the episode. Like,
Right.
The danger of the episode is not that the monsters will destroy the city or anything. The stakes are that maybe Chase is going to miss his flight.
Well, Matt, no, that's a very serious danger, because there's only one plane that leaves from California ever.
You know, it's what's
And
crazy
it
though.
only goes to New Zealand, and it only goes once. And then they actually decommission it, and then there's no more planes anywhere.
Until the next Christmas,
Forever.
of course.
Yeah. So if he doesn't get on that one flight, he'll never get home.
I mean, listen, sure.
Because he couldn't.
Does one of his friends have a flying robot pterodactyl? Yes, of course he does.
Yes.
But you can't just use that.
That would be gross. That would be a gross irresponsibility and a misuse of the sacred trust of being a Dino Ranger, Matt.
Dave, if you use the power for your own personal gain, you lose the protection of the power. Zordon taught us that.
Yeah. So he shows up. Chase shows up on a skateboard, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go home for Christmas. This is awesome." So he gives them presents, which are just like flat little packages. We don't know what it is. And Santa calls them on their Dino phones because Santa has their private number.
Yeah, Santa's got the Power Rangers on speed dial.
So, I mean, listen, if I were a semi-mythical figure based on a probably real historical person, I would definitely be in touch with other mythical protectors of the earth.
Maybe he connects to them via the morphing grid? Wait, is Santa powered by the morphing grid? Dave, is Santa a Power Ranger?
I think we can only assume that that's the case.
I mean, in the context of this, like, Power Rangers world, was Santa, like, the first Red Ranger? Was he the Red Ranger of Zordon's original group of Power Rangers?
He is. I think, okay, here's what I've now got, is that Santa, most of the year, is just like a drunk Icelander, and then around Christmas, he, like, Christmas charges up and becomes Santa Claus to deal with the crisis of Christmas. Yeah, I'm into that. So he calls them via the morphin grid on their Dino phones, and he explains the situation. And he's just like, guys, you got to get this computer back. If you don't, there won't be Christmas.
Right, because, okay, now let me say a
Okay,
thing about
okay.
this, because this is like
Hold up.
Christmas Eve, right?
Right.
Don't you
I
think
feel-
like Santa would have done some of his like logistics and like lists of who is getting what prior to the night before?
Okay, that's true. That's an excellent point. Here's my problem with this thing, is that Santa has not learned the lesson of the Grinch. The Grinch knows that Christmas comes without packages, boxes, and bags. Apparently, Santa don't know that shit. Because he's like, well, if there's no presents, Christmas is canceled.
Right.
It's not, Santa. Christmas lives in our hearts.
Which actually,
how it works.
we are going to see in a minute that somebody knows that lesson.
Yeah. And it's not Santa Claus, amazingly. So, okay. But so he says, listen, guys, Christmas is canceled. You've got to get this computer back. And the rest of the Rangers are like, yeah, we absolutely have to get it back. They run out.
Oh, by the way, there is a brief moment here where Sir Ivan of Xandar calls Santa Claus St. Nicholas because he's oldie-timey, which I think is great.
It is. Matt, just real quickly, I am going to need you to never refer to him as anything but his full name and title for the rest of the episode.
You do not have to ask me twice. In fact, you didn't have to ask me once. That is how he appears in my notes.
So they all run out, and Shelby, who is the president of dinosaurs, says,
Nope,
don't worry, Chase.
Shelby is the Pink Ranger. President of Dinosaurs is Kendra.
Kendall, yeah. So she says, don't worry, Chase. Like, we are going to get this in time, and we are going to get you on that plane to get home to your family, okay? So we go and see the bad guys, and they actually have a pretty brilliant idea, which is they're going to power up this computer, and they are going to... Oh, wait, there's something I missed. Sorry, I'll finish this thought. They're going to power up the computer, check the Ranger's like naughty nice profile and figure at some point in that it will show them where the Dino Charger's base is, and
then they can break in and steal all the energems once they know where it is.
Right. But before that, they look themselves up on the computer. Like, all of them do. And they're blown away. Like, they're genuinely surprised that they're on the naughty list. Which leads us to a real weird question. Did these guys not know that they're evil? Like, did they not know that their actions are naughty?
Honestly, I don't know, because Wrench does it, and he sees himself. He's like, man, I'm not naughty. I'm just high-spirited.
So in that case, are they truly culpable for their... They don't even know that they're bad. I don't think we can hold them culpable for their actions, Matt.
I feel like this is a much deeper conversation than we are prepared to go into here.
I would have liked to know this before we watched all the other episodes of this show.
Which we did.
That we are dealing with people who truly don't seem to understand the distinctions of good and evil. I feel like that changes the whole tenor of this show. But anyways, their plan is they're gonna spy on the Rangers, and then they're gonna try to blow them up once they get the energems. I don't know how, because the Rangers carry the energems with them at all times.
Maybe there are extra energems. I get the feeling that there are a lot of energems in play here.
It did not. From the opening thing, it looks like Keeper only had like the 6 or whatever, so I don't know. But anyways, so we go. So they go to spy on the Rangers. They're like, all right, we'll do the Green Ranger first. Like, do Riley first. And we see a flashback of him, and he's wearing like a white Nehru shirt, and he's like walking through the woods with his dog, and then a bad guy whose name I 100% know and just can't remember off the top of my head, like at this moment.
Listen, it's been a while since we have absolutely watched all of the episodes in this flashback clip show.
So that bad dude attacks his dog, and then he saves his dog from the guy, right? So that's cool.
Yeah, listen, I mean, there's a classic thing in screenwriting called Save the Cat, where like early on in your thing, you have your hero either literally or figuratively save a cat so that you know that is the person you should be rooting for.
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
So
that's really cool.
In this scene, like, I mean, it's a dog, but it is like, you could not be clearer. Like, he saves a dog from a monster. This is a nice guy.
Right. Although there is, I mean, I don't feel like that makes you particularly nice because it's your dog. Like, who's not going to save their own dog?
Well, okay, but that's not the only thing we get. We also get a scene where he's playing, like, crazy three-dimensional chess with a puzzle monster. And while
like
he's
monster
doing
chess.
that, he's saving his friends from freezing to death by throwing marbles into, like, air ducts.
Right, and then...
Remember that classic plan and how much sense it made?
Right, so he throws the marbles, and then they get the marbles because the air ducts only go in one direction and only let out into one room. And he had previously memorized the air ductwork pattern of this building that he was on. And so he throws marbles to his friends, and they get the marbles, and then they look at the vents, and they say, Riley, and then they're saved.
Yes, of course they are.
Oh,
and then he also wins chess. So you know he's nice.
Yeah. So he wins chess, and then it's just like, nice! And they're like, nice. It doesn't say it like that. It actually says noise, and it spells it out on the computer.
Nooice.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, damn it. Like, he's is nice, but it didn't show us anything about his base. So like, all right, we'll check the Pink Ranger. Like, she's probably done something bad. So we see a thing of her, and first of all, she drops some... Okay, so she's in her Pink Ranger form, and she takes her dyno motorbike off a ramp past some putties, and they all blow up. I don't know why, but then
residual
she jumps,
dino energy, Dave.
Dude, okay, so this is fucking awesome. So she jumps off the bike, the bike splits in two and turns into like dinosaur-themed unicycle roto turrets.
Yes,
and just shoots
that is
the
what
shit
happens.
out of and just shoots the shit out of those bad guys.
Anyway, so that's how you know she's nice. Also, there's a scene where she finds Tyler's bracelet, which I guess is important. Right. And also, there's a scene where she dresses up in fancy clothes and lies to a bunch of people about art to help a friend of hers, I guess.
Which I feel like would put you on the naughty list. Because you're not supposed to do that. Art dealership is a very weird world.
Listen, man, sometimes you need to commit art fraud to save your friends.
Listen, man, Wolfgang Beltracchi committed all sorts of art fraud, and that dude did time in jail.
Yes, he did. That guy that I know about.
Dude, this dude made like millions of dollars forging art. There's a whole documentary about him. It's amazing.
I should check that out.
So anyway, sorry. Yeah, you absolutely should. It's on Netflix. So she impersonates royalty, which am fairly certain is a crime.
Depending on the country. And then she uses that borrowed glamour to like boost this dude's art career. Okay.
But that makes her nice, apparently.
So we cut to a home where a mother and child, a daughter, are putting the decorations on the Christmas tree while they are watching the news, right?
Yes.
The news comes on, and the news anchor says, rumors have now been confirmed that Santa's naughty nice computer has been stolen. And so Christmas is canceled. Children all over the world are heartbroken. And the graphic it shows on the news is a spinning globe with a bunch of like frowny face emojis popping up over it.
I did not catch that. I did not see that part. So we find out because they're about to speak. They don't identify themselves, but they are from New Zealand, and so then they start talking about Chase. So this is Chase's mother and little sister.
Yeah, and the little sister says, hey, it's okay. I don't need presents. I've already got the best present of all. Chase is 100% for real not going to miss his flight and will be home for Christmas, no doubt.
Right.
Also, can we talk for a second about how the news anchor just drops the fact that Santa has a naughty nice computer as though that is a fact that everyone who is watching the news already knows about?
We could talk about that, but I would rather talk about how this news anchor is clearly American. And, they just watched American news in New Zealand, I guess?
Maybe it's global news?
I don't know. Who knows what those crazy people do over in New Zealand? I'm sure whatever the thing that we do in Australia is better. I don't know. So,
yeah.
Okay, so sorry. So we go back to the bad guys, and they are still looking at the the naughty nice computer, and they're like, "Well, check out the Blue Ranger. See what's up with that guy." So they hit the thing, and now we find out something deeply astonishing, which is that the naughty nice computer is like omni-fucking-chronal. It can see back in time.
Yes, and it can go back so far, because Coda, we learned earlier in the episode, does not know who Santa Claus is. Santa was not a going concern when Coda was rolling around in caveman times.
Yes.
But this computer can absolutely see all of his caveman time stuff.
Yeah, he saves a kid. I think it's his brother from a saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah.
Sick. But I think he tackles the saber-toothed tiger.
And they both go flying off a cliff, yeah.
Yeah, oh God, that dude, man. Even if he died, if he died from that move, flying, kicking a fucking saber-toothed tiger off a cliff, you can't ask for a better death. That's the best possible way to die.
Dude, Dave, is Coda the best?
I think he is.
Coda might actually be the best. I mean, listen,
okay, so
I'm going to need to finish watching the rest of this series to really get a good picture of that. But Coda might be the best.
So then he saves a rich dude, and then he saves another kid, but those are in modern times, by doing flying kicks on bad dudes. So, and then there's he's nice, cool, awesome. And they're like, dang it, one of these bastards, the bad guys, they're like, one of these bastards has to have done something that will show us where their base is. Check the Black Ranger. So they check the Black Ranger.
Black Ranger, okay, here's the first thing you can see the Black Ranger does. There is a baby in a stroller that is like bouncing down some stairs and towards a street where it is going to be run over by a car. Chase sees this and pulls off some slick triple X The Return of Xander Cage skateboard moves to do like a flying like flip through the air to snatch the baby out of the stroller before it is crushed by a truck.
Yes, so sorry. He goes down a ramp. His skateboard rolls under a hot dog, like a table or something. He does like a sick, like flip roll over the table, lands back on his skateboard, rolls down to the street, sees the truck coming, and then, like you said, does like a flying leap flip and just like snatches the baby out of its stroller and then lands. And then like looks at the truck real disapprovingly.
How dare you, truck?
How dare you, truck, be in the street where you're supposed to be? And then they see, and then the next clip of him is he's in the woods, and there's like a well, I think, but the well is filled with cement, except the very bottom where his friends are trapped. Which, man, I remember when we watched that episode, and that seemed really unsettling, that you would just like bury the Rangers alive.
Yeah, it's not a great time for them. But he saves them, as we all remember, by doing the spiral drill, where he just turns himself into a giant energy drill and digs through all of the layers of cement to get them out of that well.
Holy shit, that's so fucking amazing.
It was great.
So, because he uses his blaster as like the head of the drill, and you think he just pulls the trigger and spins and just through the ground. So, but still not like on the base location. They're so angry. The bad guys are so angry. They're like, all right, listen, Final Fantasy Wizard, you go outside. The Rangers have got to be getting close.
Oh, by the way, I feel like we've been not mentioning it because we keep going back to the clip stuff. We keep, between each of these clips, there has been stuff where the Rangers are running around and trying to find the bad guys, and Chase is worrying about getting home on time.
Oh, yeah, but it's super boring.
Coda is tracking them by scent.
Which is a thing that all cavemen can do.
Listen, Dave, I've been playing a lot of Far Cry Primal, the first-person shooter in which you are a caveman, and yes, you can absolutely do that.
Oh, nice. Okay, good. That's good to know from a second totally credible academic source that all cavemen can track by scent. So they arrive. Oh, the bad guys are like, Kirio, Final Fantasy Wizard, you go outside and you watch out for the Rangers because they've got to be getting close. And then we flash outside, and the Rangers do in fact arrive. And Coda is like, they're like, where the heck do we go now? And Coda's like, they're over there. They're like, dude, how do you do that? I don't smell anything. And he's just like, I didn't smell them. I just see Kirio right over there.
He's literally right there.
Right. But the way he says it talks as though he has not just led them on like a multi-mile like bloodhound trail by smelling them. Like, Coda, that's an entirely reasonable thing for them to assume that you still know where they are. Because we've been following you this whole time.
He's just a simple caveman. Don't ask him to explain his powers.
Okay, so like they start fighting, and Chase is like really super nervous. He's just like, guys, he's like, I'm on board with everything that we're doing, and we do have to do this, but if we could please fucking hurry it up, I really want to make this flight to like get home to see my mom and sister. And so they're fighting. They're like fighting the Vivics? The Vivics is their name, right?
That's what seems to be their name from my recollection, yes.
Yeah, I seem to remember that thing as well. So they're like, we go back to the main bad guys and they're like, all right, dude, second to last chance, check the Gold Ranger. So we go to the Gold Ranger, and again, omnichronal capabilities. It sees like back in time to where Sir Ivan of Xandar is in the Kingdom of Xandar, protecting Prince.
Yeah, so Sir Ivan of Xandar is fighting in the woods, and that's kind of all we get from that scene. And
well, he like saves the kid.
Yeah, and then we cut forward to the first time Sir Ivan of Xandar appears to help the Rangers. Like, they're sort of in a bind, and he shows up and slashes people, and it's very cool.
Yeah. It turns out Poisandra can teleport, and when she teleports, there's just like a bunch of heart icons that appear in her space, which is pretty amazing.
Sir Ivan of Xandar then is shown to be walking around. I think he maybe has a part-time job at, like, Dinosaur Land.
It looks like he is working in the cafe at the Dinoseum.
And someone asks him what his quest was, and he says...
his wish, Matt. What his wish was.
Oh, his wish, that's right.
And he's like the same wish that every knight has... To help a damsel in distress.
Sure, which is both altruistic, I guess, and also cementing the patriarchy. So good to go, Sir Ivan of Xandar.
Slightly patronizing, Sir Ivan of Xandar, but whatever. It was a different time, Matt. It was a different time. But then somebody falls off a ladder, and he catches her. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you, Sir Ivan of Xandar. And he says, you have made my wish come true, milady. I get the idea that Sir Ivan of Xandar is... like the heartthrob of this show. That definitely seems to be the case.
No, dude, I'm pretty sure that Coda is the heartthrob of this show.
Oh, dude, Coda is a fine-looking dude. No doubt.
Dude, let me tell you, as
styles.
A guy who like follows various Power Rangers people and fans on Twitter, I can tell you that ain't nobody talking about Sir Ivan of Xandar, but everyone is talking about Coda.
Okay, well, good to know. So... so he saves him. Then we go back, and it's a fight. It's like the Rangers are fighting the Vivix, and I think Curio, a lot of smack talk from these Rangers.
Oh yeah, there is some real quips going on. Beating you is easier than beating a drum, I think is what they said.
Right, yeah, not good smack talk, but they're making it up in volume. Is what I would say.
Okay, so finally, back to Poisandra and the other dudes. It's their last chance. They're finally going to look at Tyler, the Red Ranger. Which, listen, guys, if you have ever watched a Power Rangers thing or fought Power Rangers for 22 weeks, you should know that you start with the Red Ranger because he's the important one.
Right. So they check out the Red Ranger, and we actually see this again. This is lazy because they use the exact same clip that we saw before, which is where the Red Ranger is about to discover their secret base. And this, of course, is like the whole point of this project is to try and fucking find this base.
Well, there are a couple of other scenes in there. It's when Tyler met Riley and saved him from like being stranded on the side of the road, I guess, because his Vespa had broken down.
Yeah, I don't know how that... I mean, I guess he did stop and was like, hey, dude, are you all right?
And then there was also a scene of him fighting Fury, the big red lion dude, who we all know and love.
Yes. We talked about him before when we couldn't briefly remember his name, but now we've remembered it from the other episodes of this show that we've done. So he fights. I don't know how that demonstrates niceness. That guy is trying to kill you. That demonstrates survival. That's not whatever.
Listen, man, it's heroic. He's heroic, and heroism is nice.
Yeah. So, and they are about to see like him turn the tooth and fall back through the secret tunnel into the base. But then like the Rangers like run in. They're like, oh shit, we've got to go. So like the bad guys run, the Rangers run in. They're like, sweet, the computer. And then they're like, oh, don't let the bad guys get away. That we have to chase them. It's like, guys, no, you don't. You had a mission. The mission was recover the computer. It's right here. Just like deal with this part of it.
You are good. They have already fled. But
right, you don't.
So they go to run after them, and they catch up to them and say, "Hey, we've got a present for you." And then actually a little funny bit, Poisandra is like, "Oh no, I've been naughty. I don't deserve a present. Give my present to this guy." It just grabs like this rando blue monster who I don't even think we've seen before this episode, and puts him in front of her.
Yeah. So then they just blow that dude up.
Yeah, they say like, "Merry Christmas, here's your present," and then they murder him with lasers.
Like there's not even like there's zero fight. Like he steps out in front and he's just like, "Get some, Rangers," and then they shoot him to death.
Listen, if it is true that Santa Claus is a Power Ranger, then giving someone the gift of death by laser actually does make a lot of sense in that context.
Yeah, that actually tracks amazingly. So then we shoot up to Sledge, who is wearing a Santa hat, and he goes like, "Ho, ho, ho, Magna Beam," which is
the, exploding bomb, make our monster grow sort of moment.
Right. And then, so, there is something, just real quickly, where Coda says, like, this doesn't exactly seem like Christmas cheer, or something. The fuck do you know about Christmas cheer, Coda? You don't even know you predate Christmas.
You've already said you don't know who Santa Claus is. Although maybe that's
right.
Maybe they're illustrating that he has learned something about Santa throughout this course. Or maybe he's just faking it. I don't know. He's just trying to fit in with his buddies.
This is an awkward cocktail party where, like, he's maybe read the Wikipedia page and he's just rolling with it and hoping nobody asks him real difficult questions. So the blue guy is a giant now, and they're like, okay, well, we've got to call in the Zords because this dude's giant. And I had forgotten this, that they apparently they can combine their Zords into like multiple configurations, and they have a bunch of different styles of giant robot, which is fucking amazing. Like, that's sick as hell.
Dude, I love it. It was like that in Power Rangers Samurai as well. Where there were just a bunch of different robots that combined into like a bunch of different combinations. It's always a very cool thing when they do that in the show.
Yeah, no, that's rad. So they start off as like one dude, and they're fighting for like a minute, and they're like, okay, we need to get in like a little backup. This dude is actually slightly tougher than we thought. So they call in the Pteranodon Zord, and they turn into, I forget what the name of it is, but it's got like an Ankylosaurus hammer as one hand, and then they're like, all right, I forget what the thing is. They call it a thing. It's like the hammer smash. But the whole Zord turns into a fucking hammer tornado, and it like jumps in the air and spins around super fast and like flies around the whole screen and then comes back and like just blasts the shit out of this monster. And then they go Stego Saber, which is their finishing move. And it goes back in time, and then you see, like, they bring the Stego Saber in a circle, and there's a graphic of the entire planet, and then they drop Final Slash, which is a pretty cool name, and the bad guy goes down. Fucking game over.
And then they're like, oh, right, this is great. We murdered those monsters. Now, Chase, it's time to get you home. But Chase says, it's too late.
Too late, guys.
He's missed.
Too late.
The only plane.
What's amazing is that he does not like check any sort of timepiece before he says this, which only leads me to believe that Chase has been catching like hurried glances at his watch as this entire thing has been happening. Like, they're fighting, and he's just like, he like throws a punch and like glances down. It's like, oh shit, I've got like 10 fucking minutes. Which, Chase, dude, it takes longer than the entire episode of the show just to get through security. You should know that. This is you anyways. So we go over to Chase's home. His little sister is hella sad. She's like, Chase isn't home. This is a real fucking bummer. I'm real sad.
Like, he had to work.
I really thought he was going to be home.
But we do get the newscaster comes back on, and he says that, like, hey, the computer has been returned. Christmas is back on. And now all of the little emoji faces over the earth in the corner of the screen are smiley faces. So
are happy.
That's
They're
how you
all
know
cool
that it's
now.
good news.
Right. So we go from there to the Rangers base, and Keeper shows up, and like Chase is real bummed out.
Boy,
Keeper shows up, and he's like, Chase.
Here he is.
Right. We haven't seen him the rest of the episode, but here he is. And he's like, Chase, he's like, dude, I get it, but like, you know, I understand this is a real bummer, but like, you did do the right thing. Like, you know, just take some comfort in that. And then Santa arrives, and he just slides down the thing, which means he knows the entrance to their base, strengthening the Santa as original Red Ranger theory. And he goes, guys, you all made a big sacrifice today, which they did not, with the exception of Chase. They're all totally fine.
Right. Like, this is just what they do every week anyway.
Right. It's what they do every week. This costed them nothing, so that's not accurate really at all, Santa.
I mean, they had to interrupt their dinner.
Oh, that's true. True. So they say, he says, listen, he's like, I've got all the presents delivered. I just want to stop off here. I've got one more spot I've got to get to deliver presents. And Chase is like, oh, New Zealand? And he's just like, you know it. Do you need a ride? And Chase is just like, yes. And so he says, like, you ride with me. I'll drop you off at home.
And then Chase gets so stoked because he is going to get to ride in Santa's sleigh. And listen, dude, like, Like, the whole episode has kind of just been treating the existence of literal Santa Claus as a known fact that people aren't super excited about.
But this is where they get
Yeah, like,
jazzed.
in
They're
this
just
moment,
like, this is
like,
amazing.
it's like, oh my gosh, you guys, I get to ride in Santa's sleigh, and I'm going home for Christmas. It's beautiful.
This is like the episode of Forever Red when they're just like all looking around, and then Austin St. John shows up, and they're just like, holy shit. Like, all the other Red Rangers are like nudging each other. They're just like, what the fuck? It's him. Like, he's here. So...
Listen, everyone
Sweet.
gets excited
So-
when an old Red Ranger shows up, be it Austin St. John or literal Santa Claus.
Yeah. So then we get a quick shot of Chase's sister asleep on the sofa. And then we go back to the base, and they're just like, oh, wait, we never actually saw what Chase gave us for Christmas. So they go and they open up their presents, and it's just a picture of each of them, but it's got like a weird border to it. And what he did is he took a big picture of them and printed Merry Christmas on the bottom, and then just cut it up into a shitty puzzle.
It's a
'Cause
really
Chase is
bad
apparently,
puzzle.
Yeah, Chase is apparently just like a real cheap bastard that gets his friends bad Christmas presents.
These guys are so excited about a bad photograph of themselves. It is as though
Yeah.
they had bought them like their favorite toy from their childhood that was broken or lost when their parents had to move out of their family home.
Yeah, and Shelby actually says, like, oh my gosh, you guys, this is the best present ever. Amazing. So we go from there. Chase gets home. I did just notice in this final scene that his skateboard does have a kiwi on
It 100% does.
Yeah. And his sister's like, what, Chase? And she runs over and she gives him a hug. And then he looks out the window and he sees Santa like flying across the moon. And he says, thanks, Santa. And then that's the end of this episode.
So Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everybody. We hope you have a beautiful holiday season, kind of wherever you are and whatever you do.
Now, Dave, when we sat down to this episode, were you expecting that it would be about like dino teens from the modern day teaming up with Sir Ivan of Xandar from the medieval times and a caveman to help save Santa Claus's computer from evil space robots, and that the highest stakes of the episode would be whether or not somebody made their flight?
That is not what I expected,
And yet,
but I'm happy that I saw it. All right, man. Well, that's it for us. We do want to throw a big thanks to our friends Matt and Dave over at the Super Sentai Brothers.
yes, if you want to follow them, their podcast, the Super Sentai Brothers, is on iTunes and on Stitcher. They're on Twitter at Super Sentai Bros. If you want to shoot them an email, it's at supersentaibrothers@gmail.com. They will be putting out their penultimate and final episodes of the Jetman with the Golden Gun season of the Sentai show they do.
In the next 2 weeks, I think?
Yeah, I forget exactly what their timeline is. It might not
Yeah,
be
I
100%
forget exactly.
settled yet.
Yeah, but it's like the next week or two. So yeah, you can go check them out. They're tons of fun. Thanks again to them for helping us out with this episode. And that's going to do it for us.
Yeah. Traditional Ranger Danger sign-off.
Dino Charge!
Guys, I don't know what your sign-off is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we don't actually know what your sign off is. But I think that was funny, man. That was
Okay.
good.
All right. That was fun. I think we did that.
Ranger Danger, Ranger Danger!
Dave, before we get into this, let's go over the names of all of our characters.
Okay. So there's
The Red Ranger is Tyler.
So there's Red Ranger, Black Chick, Caveman, Skateboard, and Prep Guy.
Did you forget actual Medieval Knight?
Oh yeah, and Ivan.
Yeah, so we got Tyler as the Red Ranger. Shelby.
Okay, hold up. I'm going to set this down someplace that is not like my direct notes. Red is Tyler. The Pink Ranger,
Pink Ranger is Shelby.
Shelby.
Blue Ranger is Coda.
Coda, right? The Green Ranger is...
Riley?
That's the guy with the Nehru collar shirt, right?
The guy who had, like, the broken down bike.
Yeah,
the one who
yeah.
saves a dog.
Right.
The skateboarding New Zealand teen is Chase.
And he's the Black Ranger?
Black Ranger, yeah. And then the Gold Ranger, the literal medieval knight, is Sir Ivan of Xandar.
That's not a real place.
Nope, but let's see.
Is that on a different planet?
No, I think it was just supposed to be like a small country that has been forgotten.
For sure. That's a thing that happens.
The woman with the glasses who was like their buddy.
Yeah, Felicity Smoke.
That was Kendall. She is apparently the head of that like dinosaur archaeology museum.
Dinosaurs.
And I think later she becomes another ranger. Or maybe she...
Okay. And then that fucking Muppet is Keeper.
Yes, that horrible like monstrosity is named Keeper.